The Cold War may be over, but a new rift between the United States and Russia is bringing back bad memories of nuclear showdowns.
The president warning the risk of nuclear Armageddon has not been this high since the Cuban Missile Crisis.
And these threats are coming in fast.
There have been more nuclear threats issued in the last 7 months than we've seen in the entire 77 years of the nuclear age.
The exact number of nuclear weapons around the world is a closely guarded secret. But of the estimated 9,440 warheads out there, under 1,300 are held between North Korea, Israel, India, Pakistan, the UK, France, and China. The other 8,000 plus nukes are held by the United States and Russia, with the Russians having a slightly larger stockpile. Though that's actually down by a lot, from a high of roughly 30,000 warheads deployed by the US in the late 1960s, and over 40,000 by the USSR by the end of the Cold War. But the two superpowers' remaining nuclear arsenals could still render the planet uninhabitable several times over. According to US intelligence estimates, Russia has deployed about 2,000 so-called tactical nuclear weapons, which are different from strategic nuclear weapons, like ICBMs, which can travel much further and deal far more damage. Though they've never actually been used in combat, tactical nuclear weapons are designed for more limited strikes and are equipped to conventional rockets fired from land or sea. And that's where most experts see the threat.
I gotta tell you, the experience with war games isn't that encouraging. Most war games that start with exactly this kind of scenario end up escalating to global thermonuclear war.
The power of nuclear weapons varies greatly, typically from 1 kiloton, the equivalent of 1,000 tons of TNT, to 1.2 megatons, or 1.2 million tons of TNT. Not only does the blast radius increase with higher yields, but so does the radiation, which can be even more deadly. Tactical nuclear warhead yields can actually go as low as 0.3 kilotons, and top out at roughly 50 kilotons. But even on the low end, a direct hit on a Ukrainian military target would set a devastating precedent. So how might the US and NATO respond?
There are no good responses. Once you start down the nuclear path, it's extremely difficult to terminate it. You would only do that if you were forced to, and you're not forced to. If Putin crosses that line, if he breaks the nuclear taboo, I believe that the preferred U.S. response is going to be diplomatic and economic isolation, coupled with conventional military strikes. Roughly speaking, if the U.S. and NATO were to enter this war, and I believe a nuclear weapon could bring U.S. and NATO into this war, they could destroy the Russian forces in Ukraine in a matter of days. That would be the end of the Russian army. And so Putin understands that. And so you have to convince him right now that you're willing to do that you have options that we're willing to execute, that his use of a nuclear weapon is not going to be the final move.